host, Braden. Hey, we're set up in temporary studios for the time being, as I'm sold old meth laboratories, and I'm currently working on something in the backyard there, a little more permanent place for my studio setup. So it'll be nice to set up. But until then, I'm kind of tucked in I'm like Harry Potter under the staircase here, tucked in. But lines are open. 1-833-703-0424 if you want to be the first caller. I've reset up everything in here, so I have no idea if it even works. So why don't we get a call on the line? Obviously I was away for some time. Some personal things came up that I needed to take a step back for a little bit and take care of. We're back now, so we'll get the summer sessions rolling, and get some calls and slowly build this thing up before we start season 9 sometime in September. I'm thinking I would like to start season 9 because, again, I have a feeling the show is it's a fall show. My audio's quiet. Who's quiet? Me? Let me check. Oh, I also have music in the background going. Check. Still, yeah, I see what you're saying here. Am I quiet or the music in the background? I don't know what was quiet. Hopefully it's the music. Music or me? Doesn't matter. Caller on the line. Let's go to the caller. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Bandito.
Hey, Bandito, how's it going?
Good. I wanted to be the first caller. Welcome you back after your little hiatus. We missed you.
Hold on, let me just double check. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's nice to get away for a little bit under the circumstances. It was, unfortunate, but it is what it is. Such is life. But yeah, good to be back. Give me a test here hello for me.
Hello? Hello? Hello?
Is that coming in? How's the chat? Is that coming in pretty good now? I'm low.
Okay,
too,
hold
eh?
on. I'm on speaker. Let me take you off speaker too.
Oh no, I'm just making sure that
Okay.
everyone's.
No, I'm not on speaker, and maybe people can hear better too, if that makes a difference.
Super crisp. Yeah, it's just.
Is that better?
Every time I reset up everything in here, like, you always have to fine tweak everything. Everything's always a little, something's a little off all the time. But everyone's saying you're good now. Hopefully, I boosted my audio too, so it's good.
Perfect. The only thing is you're really dark.
Listen, I'm in cupboard studios. Okay. For the time being, I have no. You guys were treated before. Professional lights, studio setup lights, LEDs overhead, everything, and now I have the tiniest little ring light right there. I could probably I can probably do it up, but then you just see how beat this room is. And you're like, ugh.
You got the green screen on behind you?
I do, but I don't have a light you have to illuminate a green screen behind you for it to really work. Get a flashlight under your chin. That's a good idea. That's what I should do. I should have a flashlight while I'm in here. You know what? Hold on. I got stand by. I'm going to get one.
Okay.
Perfect. There we go. Yes. Huh? There we go. Look at that. Terrifying. All right, now I want to get some calls. Bandito, how have you been?
I've been good. I don't know if it's bad for you guys, but we are like in peak fire season down here, and it is like walking out into the middle of a campfire every day I step outside. It is horrible.
I'm not
So
so bad.
smoky.
I'm not too bad on Vancouver Island. It's been warm, but it's been not as bad. The entirety of British Columbia and Alberta is on fire again on the mainland. Well, you have like a huge national park, Jasper, torched. It's gone. She gone. So it's just every year it's crazy up here. And we have.
Yeah, honestly, there's a bunch of them going in eastern Oregon right now that are not contained, and they're just letting them burn. But it's like I said, it's just so smoky here. So I've got another cough. Yay!
It's strange because we're home to the Mars bombers, which is like, I don't actually think there's planes like it anywhere else on Earth that move as much water as these like specially designed firefighting aircrafts. And for some reason, like our provincial governments have just don't like them. And so they refuse to use them. And we just like let the province burn rather than like hire this like local company to fight these wildfires. So now it looks like we're going to lose the Mars bombers and they're going to go elsewhere. I know they're helping South America. They're helping various states. But they're looking to move their headquarters.
They should rent them out down here to the States because, like I said, we are peak fire season too. So
yeah, they do. They go all over the world. They're pretty crazy. So if you've seen those big, the big water tanker, and it drops like the huge red retardant and stuff, and the big, lots of times those are Mars bombers.
Awesome.
And they're rented out of British Columbia.
I've been in the middle of a forest fire. It's super scary, and it's they really shouldn't just let them burn. I get why they do, but it's not always the best.
Well, it's forest management, right? Like a lot of times, I know, especially in British Columbia, it is the natural, like, forest fires are a natural process of forest growth. But up here, we've had like unchecked pine beetle that just destroys pines for years and years. And so what'll happen is it'll leave just huge swaths of the forest just standing dead. And we used to do a really good job as going in and doing controlled burns to try to like fight back against the pine beetle. But as budget cuts went, they're just like, let the pine beetle have the forest. And now we're reaping the benefits of that decision because it goes up like matchsticks now once those beetles have killed all the trees.
So we here in Idaho, where I am at, in the mountains, we had the pine beetles back in like the late 80s, early 90s, mid 90s, and it was the same way. The forest fire that I was in the middle of was in '89, and it was a lot of it was dead growth due to the pine beetles. It was so bad.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
They're brutal. There's got to be something better than just let the whole world burn because of these stupid pine beetles.
Yeah, well, we're not supposed to be here. We're the infestation. I guess the fire is what's supposed to be real. Hey, that's a conspiracy, right?
Yeah.
No. Fire. Like we can talk about fire on Cosmic Channels. That's not what it's for. But anyways, I've been good. You're back, so that's good.
Yeah.
I'll get off the phone now and let other people call in.
All right.
I just wanted to say welcome back.
Thank you, Bandito. Have a good one.
You're welcome. All right, bye.
Bye. You got a call. You got a ghost story. You want to talk some conspiracies? It's Cosmic Channels Summer Sessions. I probably won't. I might put it together for a new episode. Every 2 or 3, until we get going for season 9. But if you got a story, call in. If it's a good one, I'm obviously going to save it. It's gonna go in the main show. 1-833-703-0424 if you got a story. And you know what? I don't know if John Jacoby's on here tonight. Him and his mom, longtime callers. John is the most frequent caller, most cut person on Cosmic Channels ever. But his mom's made the show both times she's called. I heard his mom's having some medical issues, and he was reaching out to see if anyone wanted to help with GoFundMe or something. So, hopefully I can talk to John and we can get that information out. And if you want to help out Mama Jacoby as she goes through some medical issues. Maybe as a community we can do that. But I got to talk to John first, and he hasn't got back to me yet. But I'll reach out to him again. Lines are open 1-833-703-0424. You got to call. Let's go to I have a couple stories that are starting to back up here. So let me turn on some spooky music. This is from. It's really hard to read like this, though. This is too hard to read like this. These are 100. Can I say this person's name? Doesn't say it. I don't think it even says their name. This is from Not a Ghost. These are 100% true experiences. A little backstory. My wife experiences. My wife grew up in a semi-old house, built sometime in the early 1900s. It was a 2-story house with a basement. This house has a lot of character to it. As she was growing up, there seemed to always be some weird anomalies going on. Something peeking around corners, unexplained footstep sounds, flickering lights, things being moved, the usual cliche type of anomalies associated with hauntings. These would have experiences. That doesn't make sense. I just can't read. They would have experiences so often that her family named the ghost that they believe was in her house, keeping names anonymous for safety reasons. Their house also had a security system installed on all the windows, entry-exit doors that would make an audible beep, beep, beep when something was opened. That is the most annoying. I'm very familiar with that. My aunt has that. It is so annoying. Like in the middle of the night, someone always beep, beep, beep. Window, beep, beep, beep. Everything, all the time. There was also security sensors at the top of the stairs leading to the basement that would beep anytime someone went up or down the basement stairs. As she grew up, that basement sensor would go off throughout the day, but mostly at night. It would go off so much at random times, enough that her parents had gotten the security company to come out and inspect it. Of course, they find nothing wrong with the system, but they replace it anyways. They just got used to it, and they just continued to live. Oh, that's good. Backstory on me. I'm a natural skeptic, but very open-minded to the metaphysical, paranormal, and spiritual worlds. I've always been a natural problem solver and always try to find the logic in the illogical, if that makes sense. As a teenager, wife was the girlfriend at the time. I got kicked out of where I was living, and due to family issues, she ended up temporarily living at the house alone. So naturally, I went to live with her. So now her experiences growing up became mine. This house was beyond creepy. I heard the footsteps. I saw things I can't explain. Hold on. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mr. Anonymous from Pennsylvania.
Hey, can I put you on hold for 1 second here?
Sure.
All right, stand by. I'm just going to finish reading this story here. All right. They'll go right back to the call. I got two minutes here of a story left. You know what? Let's just go to the call. Forget it. I'll read this later. I already lost my spot. All right. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Dave from Pennsylvania.
Dave, you were supposed to be Mr. Anonymous a second ago. I blew your cover by asking you twice. So.
Well, I changed my name.
it rotates all the time. So, do you want your name? I can edit your name out if you want. You want your name edited out?
No, it's no big deal.
Okay.
It's no big deal. As long as I can call you Jerry Smith.
Yeah, that's fine. Is that who I look like right now? With the short hair?
I'm the original Mr. Jerry Smith. Yeah, you look like him a little bit.
Yeah, someone said that to me earlier, and I was like, okay.
Yeah, that was me.
Hey,
sorry.
Was that you? Roast me?
Oh yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Listen, that's not a bad.
Nothing but love.
That's not a bad thing to look like Earth's greatest scientist. Right?
Well, yeah, if you want to be.
All right. What do you got for us tonight?
All right, crazy story. This happened probably 15 years ago. I was in my house, and it was my wife. We were watching The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Ooh, good one.
And in the movie, they were talking about how if there's like some sort of like possession happening or demons present, there would be a smell of burning. I think it was Emily Rose, something like that. But we actually literally smelled burning while we were watching this movie, and we thought it was incredible. So I took my wife down to the basement, and I told her this story that was completely made up about how my house was part of the Underground Railroad, and people were held down there, and there was a fire down there, and people died, and, you know, it was this crazy made-up story. And she believed me, of course, because she smelled burning.
Yeah.
Years later, we find out that somebody in my family actually was attempting to set my house on fire that night.
What?
Crazy story. So we weren't crazy thinking that we smelled burning, because it literally happened. Somebody was trying to catch our house on fire, and it was raining that night, so they were under my porch trying to catch it on fire with like a lighter. They were crazy. They ended up going to jail. But the craziest thing was we literally smelled burning, so we thought this movie was like giving us these vibes of like burning. It's crazy.
What are the odds of that? And then you associate it with the movie.
Zero odds, but you know, years later we found out about it. We're thinking, how did our house not catch on fire? But it was raining that night. So luckily for us, that actually never happened. So, and the only other things that happened that I could tell a story about happened while I was dreaming. So we're not going to send the dream police.
Oh, that's all right. That's all right. Hey, summer sessions, it's a little loose. The dream police are off duty. Let's hear it.
All right. So in the same house, I mean, I'm in a different house now. We moved, you know, years ago, but I bought a house, I moved in, and I had a dream that I was abducted in that same house. And part of that dream was, you know, the traditional stuff. You're floating out the window, there's a bright light, except for at the same time there was tanks going down my street, there was a bunch of shooting and all this other stuff, and I'm floating up to this aircraft, and I woke up, and I was like feeling my back, and I felt a bump. But the problem is that same house that, you know, was going to get caught on fire, it ended up getting tore down since it was such a nice house. They tore it down. There's absolutely no way that I could be the same age as I'm in my house now and in that house. So I convinced myself that there's no possible way it could have happened.
That's strange. I wonder why. Why do you think you had that dream? You think there's some deeper meaning to it?
Probably not.
No,
just thinking about a house I used to live in for 20 years. And,
just you really think
and there was
that old house?
There was a little scar on my back, you know, which is weird because I don't remember having any injury that would have like an incision, but you know.
You still have it?
Yeah, it's like on the bottom right of my lower back.
Strange. Strange. And have you ever got it looked at?
No, that's weird. Hell no.
Yeah, what do you mean it's weird? You have a random mark that popped up on your body, brother. That's 100%. Next time your doctor be like, "Hey, doc, look at this little thing."
It's an old football injury.
Oh, is it?
No, I don't know. I never played football.
Well, I mean, hey, listen, you never know, right? You never know what it could be. I had one. I had a little buddy on my back. I looked like I got stabbed one time. And I was just like, oh,
that's what it kind of looks like, a little knife wound.
Yeah, that's what I had. Do you want me to tell you what mine was? Maybe mine was. It might make
me feel better. Actually,
it was a little cyst.
Oh, no, mine's not a cyst.
Yeah, well, but it looked like a little scar. It was tiny. It was like a little tiny guy. And I was like, oh, what is this? What happened here? I was like, did I get stabbed?
Nah.
With like a
we'll
pen?
Just say I'm abducted for a full story.
I abducted. Yeah, it's probably a chip. That was probably what mine was too. Chip, some sort of tracking chip from the aliens. But anyways, hey man, thanks for the call. I'm glad your house didn't get burned while you were in it. Pretty funny though that you made up a full story to that.
It's crazy. Well, I appreciate you guys. I've been listening for what feels like 10 years, but probably not realistic.
It's getting close to that. So 2016. So we're getting closer. still there?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You cut out for a second.
Oh, no worries. Anyways, thank you for the call, and take care of yourself, Anonymous Dave.
All right, have a good one.
All right, bye. Yeah, summer sessions, man. We keep it light on summer sessions here. I'm here for my mom, new to Earth. Who's your mom? 1-833-703-0424. You got a story to tell? Listen, if you're still watching on Alien Theorists Theorizing Facebook, or Alien Theorists Theorizing YouTube, or Big Theory YouTube, I mean, you can't. Nothing I can do to stop you. But go watch on Cosmic Channels YouTube and Cosmic Channels Facebook, or Cosmic Channels, Twitch. Go check it out there. That way we get, we get those stats. Help the show grow. I'm here for my mom. My mom is that old lady. Which old lady? New to Earth. Someone's saying, what's our stream hours at? Our stream hours for Cosmic Channels is at... and it's always behind. Let me check. Where is it here? We are at... Change it to last 365. 2,000 watch hours. So we are 1,000 away. The countdown begins, people. We're getting close. And then we can get those super chats going and stuff like that. We're really close now. We're working on it slowly. It takes some time to slowly update, but 2,000 hours. Woo! Shout out to Lisa. Huge fan. Me. Oh, you're Lisa? No. Oh, that old lady. Oh, are you calling? I'm here for my mom. That old lady. You calling? Let's go. 1-833-703-0424. I wanna hear some more stories. But let's finish that story. I got interrupted. Listen, feel free to interrupt me on this when I'm reading a story. It's all good. But it's so hard for me to remember where I was. All right. The house. Yeah, I remember now. As a teenager, I got kicked out of where I was living, and due to family issues, she ended up temporarily living at the house alone. So naturally, I went to live with her. So now her experiences growing up became mine. The house was beyond creepy. I heard the footsteps. I saw things I can't explain. I heard the basement sensor beeps. The basement had the creepiest vibe in the entire house. Maybe it was just because we, for some reason, associate dark basements with being scary or evil, or maybe something was down there. Well, listen, everyone does that with creepy basements. If you have to walk down to a basement and the basement is below like the ground level, it's haunted. I don't make the rules. We're just all we have to follow them. That crawl spaces. No, you know what? Crawls? Things from your nightmares. So yeah, it's like, listen, but especially when you're already having these kind of issues in the house. I mean, it's always going to be a little chillier down there. Don't like it. Either way, it was my least favorite part of the house. That sensor would beep in the dead middle of the night without any explanation. And it would happen regularly and would scare us each and every time. I'm getting goosebumps now while remembering the sounds of that beeping. And those of you who know, I know exactly the alarm. It's like beep, beep, beep. That's all it does. And every single time you hear it, you're like, well, I know what that means. Someone's either coming in, someone's moving, someone's up, someone's in the house. I mean, it's terrifying. And it's just, the worst part is like they should have like a couple different, listen, I know we're huge. Security companies love listening to Cosmic Channel, so I'm going to give you some free advice. Mix up the beeps a little bit. Like intruder in the house, beep, beep, boop. You know what I mean? Like the beep, 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 you're just left wondering. You're like, all right, cool. Did the door open? Did my dog run down the stairs? What did that mean? Now you're laying in bed going, should I be concerned now? Do I just lay here? It's the worst. Mix up the beeps is all I'm saying. I'm getting goosebumps now remembering the sounds of that beeping. Then one morning, while I'm in the living room, and then my then girlfriend was getting ready for the day, I saw something I can't explain, but I know for a fact I saw it. It was a woman's entire side profile, bathed in a glowing white color. It seemed like, or she, had no idea I was even there. There was zero acknowledgement towards me. The closest way I can describe her was when Galadriel from Lord of the Rings? Galadriel. I don't remember how to pronounce her name. You know her. She showed her dark form when she turns that bluish white color, except I didn't get any bad vibes. Actually, I didn't really feel any type of vibes. Whatever I saw came and went within maybe 5 seconds. There were no mirrors, no windows, or any type of reflective material near where this happened, and I can't explain it to this day. Not long after that, we ended up packing and moving somewhere else. This was about 15 years ago, and I haven't experienced anything since. But thinking about it now, some of our stuff now does tend to go missing, and then comes back to us randomly. Make of that what you will. I hope this was a fun read. Thank you, Not a Ghost. That was a great story. Thank you for sending it in. It was truly terrifying. The interesting thing is, it kind of makes me wonder if, you have some really wild experiences in this house that, that are ongoing, happening all the time, and then you move and it's now minor. Part of me wonders, I wonder if there was some sort of spirit haunting the house that lived there, and maybe you have in your possession now something that was in the house before it was yours, and you have it now. So it's there's some lingering residual spirit activity associated to an item in your house, but not enough to warrant the level of issue you had before. It's creepy. And to see a full-blown apparition, I'd be doing something. That's terrifying. Alex O'Brien, basement below ground level haunted. Rules are rules. I don't make the rules. I just, like I said, I'm not the one making the rules. If you have a tiny little window at the bottom of your basement, it's haunted. What do you want from me? Nothing I can do about that. It's haunted. Those are the rules. Again, I just make them. Lines are open 1-833-703-0424. That's 1-833-703-0424. Everyone, we're going to start going hard to pay those 2025 bills come the fall. We need to raise about $900, and we still have a bunch of money sitting in the kitty here for. We're going to buy UK lines, but again, looking at the numbers, I just really don't think it's viable to pay that for the 3 people that listen in the UK. Once we grow the show, then maybe. Let's go to the lines. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, it's Invalid.
Hey, how's it going?
Island. Good. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. Not too bad.
Good. Nice to see you back. I had to take a hiatus for a while though, so I've missed a few episodes.
Yeah, that's all good. I was. So did I. We both did.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, so I'm calling with I guess maybe a haunting, but it's a very recent and it's hospital related.
Ooh.
So I thought, well, it's a little different.
I'll tell you.
I don't know if it's a haunting, but it was really weird.
Having spent and also a lot of time in the hospitals the last the last couple months, there is some of those wings in the hospital when you're going, they just have a vibe, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just go there and you're just
do.
You're ooh.
just spent 2 months in ICU essentially, with doing what I was doing. So, yeah, it's there's just so much vibes going there, and it's not always really good.
No, no, I agree. Like I said, I was the whole time I was there, I was doing the same thing, ICU and palliative, and it was like, ooh, some heavy energies going on in there.
And it's already heavy, the reason you're there, so it's not nice having that added to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. But let's hear your story.
Well, my story is it's happened the last 2 days that I needed to be there. And I guess this is about 2 weeks ago now. We ended up getting the family respite room, which you get in ICU if, things are not going well. So you and your family can reserve this for whatever time is needed prior to the passing of somebody. And so for those that don't know what it is. So with this respite room, it's set up with, lots of sitting area, all the basic needs that you'd need, to pull out couches for beds and your own washroom. And in this hospital, I know some hospitals still have the pedal-operated sinks and toilets. This one, it was all sensor-related. So it just would, you wave in front and then it would activate for the sink and for the toilet. Now, in this room, for the last 2 days only, and we had been in there for a week, the sink would constantly go on and off. Constantly. And there'd be nobody near that washroom because there was just the two of us in that room. And so it was really, really disturbing because I work with a company that also installs these types of sensor devices, and these things, like, if they're going to malfunction, they're not going to turn on. They're just never going to activate. It's not the opposite where they're just start working. So it was just a really unpleasant, ominous situation while we're in there 24 hours a day, and then having this sink just constantly turn on and off in this bathroom.
And
so that's about it.
Can I ask you a question? What are the odds you were at Royal Jubilee?
No.
Oh, okay. Because I
actually had to go to the mainland.
Oh, did you? Okay, because I was like, I was gonna say the Royal Jubilee Hospital is like famously haunted. Famously.
That one is, and I'd like to say that the one I'd be in would have been, but that hospital, this section was actually fairly new, so it's still going to have a lot of residual stuff that's trapped in it, but it wasn't one of the older ones. So because another one that would be bad would be St. Paul's. I know there's a lot of bad that comes out of that one.
Yeah,
on the mainland.
And I think it's a tough, like, hospitals. I think they have that vibe too, because there's so many people who leave before they wanted to, and so they're probably hanging around there. I don't want to say lost or anything like that, but confused, like, not really believing that they've left their physical form behind, not almost in denial, I think, and you kind of like in some of the areas you get that vibe, and I think it's just a place where unfortunately, I mean, they do a great job of trying to care for everyone and stuff, but it's like some people just pass before they've accepted. Like I had a friend that happened to, and it's just they just don't want to go, and they're hanging on and they're fighting to stay.
Accepting, or the medical staff hasn't been able to explain that this is happening to them, or family or loved ones haven't been able to attend prior to them passing. There's so many different things that can lead to just really bad situations.
Yeah, and I think these areas, then these spirits or people who have just passed on are just linger for a while before they kind of either make amends with it that they've passed on, and kind of go to wherever you go after. But it is, like I said, those wings of those hospitals, they're pretty heavy. I mean, I've had other people call on the show and talk about areas where you just get that feeling, and some of those wings in that hospital, if you some people might say you're there because this or that, or death is near to someone you care about, that's why you're there visiting and stuff. But it is weird. I would like to hear from nurses and stuff who work on these kind of wings, and I wonder if they get that feeling more often than not.
Yeah,
in those
well,
kind of wings.
and the stories that just before the passing times are amazing, and I've heard a lot about them, and then I ended up experiencing that in my case as well, a couple of days prior to it, where you just have this sudden the person becomes so cognitive,
Yeah.
and is just suddenly talking where they couldn't even talk before, or I've read stories of people that were brain dead, like their brains literally goop, and for a day prior to them passing, it's like they were up and walking around and having coherent conversations with people and all of this, and it's like the nurses have some amazing stories about some of the stuff, but it's also tragic. But
Yeah. Oh, I mean, it's heavy stuff, so it's.
Yeah.
But it'd be interesting to sit down and talk to some people that do that for a living in those kind of wings.
Well, you have to do cosmic channels on the road and go to hospitals
yeah.
and interview people.
Yeah, get in there. Well, or if there's nurses listening, call with your stories.
Yes,
you work in
that too.
You work in a hospital that's has some hauntings or some some odd things that everyone notices, and you just kind of let it be. I want to know. But in Val, thank you so much.
That's my story.
Thank you so much for calling, and I'm terribly
Yes,
sorry
of course.
for your loss.
Oh, likewise.
Yeah, it's always a tough
Life
time,
happens.
So, yeah. So all you can
And
do
then
is
it
just
does
enjoy it and remember the people as best you can and share their stories.
Absolutely.
All right, take care
All
of
right. Well,
yourself.
thank you. Bye.
Bye. Yeah, it'd be cool to talk to nurses and stuff, but like in those kind of wings. But it is kind of interesting and weird if you've ever been in those kind of wings of the hospital. Just heavy vibes in there. Lines are open 1-833-703-0424. So it's 6 and 1/2 does the other. We have $138 saved towards 2025 Cosmic Channels, all the bills, and we have $500 in the bank for that was supposed to be for some ads, so UK line, but the UK line, with the numbers, it just doesn't make sense. There's not. I would have to do a dedicated UK time. UK is the worst time zone because it's like 12 hours, so it's like 6 in the morning there right now. And I was gonna do that, but there's just not enough listeners right now in there. So maybe once it grows, I don't know. I'm not sure what to do with that. But we got a nice kitty to decide what we want to do with. I mean, I can just put that all towards the 2025 bills, and we're way closer to paying those bills at the end of the year. Yeah, Silver Lotus. Silver Lotus has got stickers coming. So if you wanted a Cosmic Channel stickers, they look phenomenal. We're gonna connect and pretty soon and get her links to her store and stuff, so you guys can get yourself some Cosmic Channel stickers. They look phenomenal. They look awesome. We got a You Only Die Once sticker, a Cosmic Channels logo sticker, and Fuck You Call Us Cosmic Channels sticker. So they look really cool. Thank you to Silver Lotus for setting those up. So they sooner than later we'll have those kind of up and ready. I think I just have to approve something, but listen, I approve is easy. I just go, yeah, I love them, approved. But well, we'll see. We're in discussions, contract negotiations. That being said, oh, look at that! We got a caller on the line. That takes priority. Oh, why can't I answer this? Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, it's Sheila from Montreal, Quebec.
Hey, how's it going tonight?
I'm doing all right. You?
Oh, not bad. You are not affected by any fires over that way yet?
No,
anyways?
not yet. I mean, I know it hit Ontario, but I don't think we've smelled anything, because the last time it happened, it was so intense, the smell.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't go out there. It was, you couldn't breathe. Yeah.
I was fortunate to be on the farthest part of the West Coast, so I was kind of free. But like, yeah, I was seeing the radar of everyone else just getting smoked out. I was like, oh, that sucks. So, what do you got for us tonight?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't. You got cut off. I couldn't hear you.
Oh, what do you got for us tonight?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm calling because I was thinking, what could I tell you about? Because I have so many stories, but because of the call that just happened about the hospital, it brought back something that happened last year. And just for some context, I had called. I think it was the second time I'd called. I had talked about remembering being born beforehand, like before I was actually like, just like, I don't know how to describe it, but like in the process of being born, where I had a memory of hovering over my mother as she was going to the hospital. I don't know if you remember when I had called about that.
Yes, I do remember.
But
now.
It was like, I had kind of described like seeing what looked like diamond crystal-like material as I was going through what looked like kind of a tunnel, and then it was dark, and then I saw light, and then I was like floating above her. So the reason I'm mentioning that is because what happened was about a year ago now. Again, I was in the hospital, and I was waiting. It was late at night, and I was waiting for the staff to come see me. And it's probably like 12. It was like midnight, and suddenly I was sleeping, and something woke me up. It was a bunch of people crying, and I was like, "What happened? What's going on?" And my husband, who was sitting next to me, said, "I think somebody passed away." I said, "Oh my God," because I was like part of the ICU wing, like I was still in that process, and I was like, "Oh, that's terrible." And you could hear, like a really young girl crying, and I was like, "I wonder if I could see anything," because I had that ability. So I closed my eyes, and then I saw a black woman who looked kind of shocked and stunned, and she's looking up in the air, and then I see that material again. It looks like it's floating above her, but it's that diamond material. And I saw a hand come down from that, extended to her, and she was really confused, but she gave her hand up, still looking confused, and then it just went black. So I said, "Oh, I guess something came to pick her up." And I was like, I'm curious. So I got up. I said, I'm just going to use the washroom. And I got up and I was walking down the hall. And I wish I hadn't seen this, but they hadn't closed the door. And all the family was in the vicinity right at the door. And they were wheeling her out. She wasn't covered. And she was a black woman. And I was like, oh my God, that's the person I saw. Anyway, so I went to the washroom, came back. I told my husband, he was like, just don't look. Just don't say anything to them. Because not everyone believes these things. I was like, I'm not going to say anything. It was weird that I saw that same material, and that's the third time now that I've seen it.
Yeah, that is so strange. Yeah. Like it's like a diamond, like metallic.
It just looks like a okay. So like how you have a waterfall,
yeah,
and it has that shimmery effect. It's kind of like that, but so much more clear and so much more. It's super shiny. It's almost like it's super faceted, so it's catching the light in so many directions.
Yeah.
And it's brilliant. It's the only way I could describe it, but it's not static. It feels like a fabric that's pulsing.
Dynamic.
It's moving. It's not.
Weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, this hand that this person grabbed, what do you think? Do you think that's death?
No, but I was wondering, I remember like thinking back as I was looking at it, like what color was that? With the hand itself looked like satin. It looked like sheer satin color, like a white sheer satin.
So maybe,
and I know,
maybe a gloved hand?
No, not necessarily gloved. It was just like the skin texture itself. Like I would attribute it to being the actual skin texture. So super soft, but kind of glimmery. And I wouldn't say it felt almost masculine, but I can't say for sure, but it just felt that way. But I don't think it was negative or demonic or anything like that, because I mean, from my experience having seen it, from like my memory, it was coming back from somewhere else, right? It was not in a negative way. It was
if you think about like all the stories of death and just how death's touch and the different folklore surrounding death and coming and visiting, and it's the take my hand. it kind of makes, when you explain that to me, that's where my brain goes to. I'm like, maybe you caught a glimpse, and you said you were in the ICU, so maybe you were like, you were kind of, and I think you've told me before you're sensitive to these kind of things. So like maybe it's a bit of like being in that area in the ICU, and you're sensitive to these things, that you caught a kind of a glimpse of death taking someone. And I kind of wonder that, because if you think of all the tales and stuff, I wonder if other people have seen something similar, and that's how that story has kind of progressed.
That's a good point, because death is not necessarily something negative or positive, right? It's just kind of like a conduit
it's a
to something else.
Yeah, it's the next step. And we attribute it to we attribute it to this, the Grim Reaper and stuff like that. But it's like, that's not necessarily. It could be a loved one from the past that they're reaching out from the other side to give you a hand along, right? We have literally no idea. So it's kind of interesting that, and it's weird because what you describe, I've heard other people kind of describe, not in the terms of death, but when like talking about like DMT trips and stuff, kind of I've heard similar. And so I always kind of wonder, I'm like, is there something to that? Like, you know what I mean? Like there's something that we just can't see right now in this plane of existence that will be welcomed through once we pass on. That's interesting. What are your thoughts on it?
I think that there's some kind of intermediary for sure. I mean, I have been in situations where I've had a friend, for example, when her grandmother was passing, she asked me to look from a distance to see what I could see over there. After, because there's only so many hours you can visit, obviously. And she was like, no one's with her. Can you see, she's still alive? What's going on from a distance? And I said, no, she's fine. She's in bed. And I said, but I do see so-and-so and so-and-so, and I don't know their family. Do you know what I mean? And she was like, you're describing her brother who had passed like 50 years back, or you're describing her aunt, and I was like, oh, okay, so you know who these people are. I was like, well, she's with them. Like, they're all waiting with her. So that's like one stage of it where, and like, it's funny because they sensed I was looking at one point. One of them looked right at me, and I just said, nope, I can't look anymore. I don't think I have permission. So I stopped looking. But she was not happy that, like, it's like she somehow knew I was looking in. So I think that's one stage before someone passes. The loved ones do come. And then there's that stage where, obviously when you pass, there is possibly, I always imagined it would be your loved ones also on the other side, kind of maybe beckoning you. But this was not the feeling I had at all. This was, okay, you've done that process. Now this is like the next step. I'm going to help bring you to the next place. Because she did not seem like she wanted, not that she didn't want to go, but that she was just terribly confused. Like, what just happened? And what I kind of overheard around me was that she'd had a heart attack. So it was sudden. She was not expecting it. So it could just be, it was what she was viewing was so different. So I think that was like a different stage in that process.
Yeah.
What exactly it was, I can't say for sure, but that's the first time I've ever seen that, only because it was the first time I was curious enough to look.
Yeah. Now, I just had a question, and I might be wrong. Did you had, in a previous call, described seeing like a shadow creature or something in someone's house that was humongous, right? That was you?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I recognize your voice, but sometimes it takes me a while to kind of put the voice with the story. And I always remember that. Because it still haunts me to this day.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's good. I loved it.
There are just so many of them. Honestly, at some point I'm going to write a book, because it's just, in terms of a lifetime of experiences, it's quite a number. And that's why I don't call, because I'm like, what would I talk about? There's so many odd little things here and there, and just really weird tiny things where it's like, oh, this happened and this chair was spinning and it freaked that person out, but I didn't see it, but they saw it, and it's a split second that it happens. Is that really a whole story? Do you know what I mean? Do you express something like that? I don't know.
Well, it's always nice when someone calls and you kind of have the next caller's like, I listened to that call and I have something similar to, along those lines. So
that's true.
So I enjoy that. Anyways, thank you so much for calling. That's fascinating. Hopefully, it inspires other people to call and share their experiences or their thoughts on the matter of what happens to us after we pass.
Absolutely.
All right, take care of yourself.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, Silver Lotus says, when my grandmother was in the stages of passing, she told us she could see her parents and they were waiting for her. See, that's nice. And you know, that kind of goes to that caller's story of like, you know, and she says it didn't feel, but maybe in that sense, when it's sudden, maybe there's a passerby spirit giving a hand, like, oh, I'll help you up through here. Like you're just giving a hand to someone and, you know, to the next realm or something. I have no idea. It's interesting to think. Lines are open. 1-833-703-0424. Woo! Got another call on the line. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, my name is Gil, and I'm calling from Asheville, North Carolina.
Do you have me on speakerphone by any chance?
I do not. Let me
Are you on a Bluetooth?
hand you off my headphone. Yes, I am. Hold on one second. Sorry, brother. Okay, is that better?
Oh, way better. I don't know why. Whatever it is, it always fishbowls people, and I don't know. Yeah. I don't know why. And sorry, did you say your name was Gil?
Yeah, my name's Gil.
Gil
G-I-L,
from Ontario.
Yes.
Right on. What do you got
Asheville, North Carolina. Nowhere near Ontario.
Asheville, North Carolina.
It's the Ontario of America. Yeah, everybody knows that.
Whatever. Hey, listen. We all got a little Ontario in us, okay? Gil, what do you got for us tonight?
Yeah. So actually, I have an odd question for you. So, two things. But the second part's the question. First thing, the show inspired friends and I to start a podcast 2 years ago. So I just wanted to say thank you.
No, right on.
You held us through COVID and the lockdowns and all that jazz, and by the end of it, you know, we caught the end of the wave of starting podcasts, and you were one of the inspirations. So thank you.
Cheers, man. Love to hear it.
Yeah. And second part, and this goes, and I promise I'm not guerrilla shamelessly promoting here. Second part.
Hold on. You don't even have to worry about that. What is the show? Tell us. I want to say the name of the show.
Shit, dude. Okay. Honestly, that wasn't my intention, but thank you.
No, I want to know. I'm curious.
Yeah, it's a Black Cat Report.
Black Cat Report, and it's you and your. How many buddies are on the show?
Right now 2. Started off with 4, but you know how podcasts go.
Yeah.
So it's a hard one to keep together. But yeah.
100%,
so,
man. Early days of us, we were all over the place. So it's
yeah.
It's cool though because it's a way to keep connected to friends. I mean, I'm getting up there now, and it's tough to carve out time to, you know, we've family, kids, and it's tough, you know. Especially for men, we kind of grow distance to our close friends and stuff, and those are important bonds. And podcasting is a phenomenal way to kind of stay in touch, and you kind of carve out that time to hang out with your buddies. So what do you guys talk about?
Yeah, so I was listening to your show while I was cooking, as I tend to, and I realized, you know, the topic that we're covering, or a subject, a person that we're covering right now fits in perfectly. Have you ever heard of Tsuruhiko Kyuchi?
No.
Okay.
I'm also terrible with names. No,
I'm with you too. But if you knew about this dude, you would know. Okay, so I came across him studying micro UFOs for an episode months and months and months ago, and it was on this Japanese blog, and it was a guy who had died 3 times and had 3 different, you know, near-death, out-of-body experiences. And so I kind of put him on the back burner. I was like, we're going to cover him. And so we're doing a time traveler month. And that was the whole point of his death, is that during his death, he learned how to time travel. This dude, medically, it's registered. He's kind of on the list of the only person in history to have ever done XYZ. This dude has died 3 times. The first time that he died when he was 22, he died for 30 minutes. He was legally declared
I mean, that's
dead
a good death.
for
Yeah,
30 minutes.
You're dead. Yeah, for sure. 100%. You're.
Yeah, he had. I mean, you might know the term for this, but what is the splotching that starts when somebody dies?
Oh, you're asking the wrong guy. That's Andrew's. That's Andrew's realm.
Okay.
Pooling. I know there's
Gotcha.
pooling that happens.
Yeah.
Lividity. I feel like that's a good word to use. I don't know if it fits at all.
So, I have no clue, but like, you know,
I know what you're saying.
I'm sitting over here. I'm an atheist. I'm looking into this
starting
dude,
to
and
congeal. Right?
What's that?
Starting to congeal a little bit.
He's starting to congeal. And you know, basically, the way I describe it in my non-medical terms is everything that your body does to keep you alive when you die, it completely 100% reverses. So like oxygen becomes toxic, for instance, right? To your brain. Like everything in your body flips. Like it just straight up flips a switch and it starts decomposing you. It's a very refined process. It's had a lot of experience. Well, what happened with Kyuchi was he had a brain scan. He had his heart checked. He had his lungs checked. The pulmonologist was there. The neurologist was there. The lead doctor was there. Everybody. He was completely declared dead. He was in the middle of getting his last rites in the Shinto faith. He was in the middle of getting his last rites, and literally it was rice water that his aunt was like sitting there praying, and she was putting to his lips. I forget the term in Japanese, but there's a specific ceremony when somebody just dies where you offer water to them. You put it to their lips in a spoon, and the thought is, you know, hey, if they are close to death and they're not dead, this is good for them. And if they are dead, then it's their first offering as an ancestor, right? It's kind of a beautiful, you know, thing to do. She was in the middle of praying over his dead body, poured rice water into his mouth, and he said, yummy, and scared the living shit out of her.
Yeah.
But what this dude experienced, though, which is so insane, because I don't know anybody that, I mean, the guy's 70 years old. He's still alive. He's the only person I know of that will have ever died 4 times in their life. But what this dude experienced, though, was a complete transition into death, right? So when it first happened to him, when he first died at 22, it was just he's sitting there, he's listening to the doctor give the, you know, hey, he's going to pass at any moment kind of speech to his family that's in the room. And now he's standing in a muddy tunnel that's black, like pitch black. And he said that it had the feeling of like rice paddies below his feet. And he started crawling through the tunnel. It could not see, you know, up, down, left, right. It had no idea of any direction or whatever. And he just kept crawling and crawling through the mud until eventually he saw a vague light and came out from the tunnel, eventually, into a black and white world. Started walking through the field in the black and white world and saw kind of a yellowish glow. Again, everything's in black and white, so picture like a yellow spotlight off in the distance. And he started moving towards it. Eventually he got to a river where he found an old beat-up boat. So it kind of has the feeling of like he crossed the river Styx without permission.
Yeah, that's the vibe it was giving me. I was like, okay, this is there's some like parallels here to other like afterlife tales.
Yeah, he basically went GTA in the afterlife and just like stole the boat.
Yeah,
you know,
he had no tokens with him.
Yeah, and so he ends up crossing, gets across the river, and he gets to the other side, and he's just absolutely exhausted. He lifts up his head and sees these figures that were standing around a bonfire. And he described them as like black shadow outlines of people that like moved kind of like heat. And one of them started coming towards him, and as they came towards him, I guess the best word for it would be materialized. It was who he would later find out to be his aunt that died when he was born, like around the same time that he was born. He had never met her.
Okay.
And and her first question was, "What are you doing here?" And he was speechless, and she's like, "Come with me." And she leads him over to the fire. He realizes that his cousin and other members of the family who had passed were all there. they all start catching up on family and everything. And it, like, I guess this story gets to me so much because that is such a common thing about having family waiting for you, you know?
Yeah.
Like, at the end. And it was kind of like the family was there taking care, like they were holding vigil waiting for extended family to come.
Yeah, not him.
Yeah. And I mean, the dude's gonna die in his life. He's gonna die 2 more times. So like, this was not his time at 22 years old, you know? But, you know, they talk for a while, they kind of catch up, and it's kind of like, yo, what's Uncle Louie up to? Oh my God, he's still crazy, you know, like, it's just kind of like that kind of, it's family banter. And she's like, hey, come with me. And he's like, all right, he follows her, eventually comes across this beautiful, like, field of flowers. And then he says that there's this bright light that comes down from the sky that's, like, golden. And it's, the tracers behind it look like a dragon. It's moving so fast. And it swirls down and goes right in front of him, and it's this beautiful woman, and he realizes the end of the light has a face, and it stops right in front of him. And he's sitting there, and she just looks at him for a moment, and then just backs up and leaves. And he starts following his aunt again, because he's just kind of like, you know, this is all new to me at this point. He just starts following his aunt again, realizes she's gone, and then snap. He's standing in the hospital behind the doctors as they're trying to massage his heart back to life. Like,
Wild.
but this dude has this shit happen. I mean, tickets, wait, if you get a chance, please look into Tsuruhiko Kyuchi. The dude has like 3 near-death and out-of-body experiences, and frankly, he's the only person I know that's ever had that many experiences. Enough that by the second and third time it happens to him, he's kind of like, you know, this ain't my first rodeo.
Well, listen, I am definitely interested, and if you like, we can keep going on them, or everyone who's listening who's interested in this, they can go listen to episode 105 and 106 of the Black Cat Report.
Dude. Thank you, man. Thank you.
And it looks like you guys got it in depth. Over 2 hours on this guy. This is wild.
Yeah, the dude's nuts. I'm shocked by the fact that there is 0 coverage outside of the Japanese language of this dude.
No,
like it is.
He's just like kind of labeled as like an amateur astronomer. Like that's.
Yeah, that's another thing. So this dude, he often in Japan gets referred to as like the amazing Kyuchi, right? Or at least that's how it translates. His achievements, like if you're ever going to like come across somebody who actually might make you question if time travel's real, it's gonna be this dude, because the shit that ends up happening to him that he is documented for, you know, I have the sources, you know, the .gov websites for his name being tied to shit. This guy goes to just rediscover Swift Tuttle in, I think it was 1992 or 1994. Rediscovers Swift Tuttle. Swift Tuttle's kind of a big deal. It is the #1 known threat to all life on Earth. Kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And it was lost for 100 and something years. It was Kyuchi that rediscovered it, and then he ended up causing it landed in the oh shit inbox of all global governments when he found it again, because he did all the math and he did all the fun sciencey stuff, and realized, hey, in the year 2126 in August, there's a damn good chance it's going to wipe out all life on Earth.
Yeah.
That calculations were checked. He got credit for rediscovering it after it had been lost. And that became the plot to Armageddon and Deep Impact.
Yeah.
Like it just keeps going with this dude.
Yeah.
But then he dies 2 more times, which I don't know if any other callers tonight or if anybody else has said this, or, you know, maybe folks have their own stories. Something that I've come across with NDE experiences is you walk a life that's kind of halfway across the line afterwards. So Kyuchi talked about he went to the city that had been mainly impacted by like Fukushima Daiichi and like the tsunami and the nuclear plant and tens of thousands of lives that were lost in Japan at that time. He was there within like a week of it happening, and he talked about how he could see the souls of everybody that was dead and confused, but specifically he saw the souls as white shadows walking around. And that's something that I've come across with like a handful of NDEs, with like folks who've crossed that line are still kind of walking in that world, even though they're alive to us. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, there's so many different like NDE experiences. It's so wild, and like so, like each one. But this guy, like the fact this guy's had so many, and he's like, and he's, actually like, kind of he's like Japanese Forrest Gump kind of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he's
yes.
like,
yeah. and he is, and bro, like if you watch his interviews and stuff like that, he kind of has that vibe a little bit. You nailed it. You nailed it 100%. Like, just how the fuck do you keep popping up? Like, there's a point in time where he may have helped inspire Bill Gates to with the early influence around the internet in I think it was 1974. Like, there was that. Like, this dude just keeps popping up in history and nobody knows his name. He's died 3 times.
I know he's a religious leader now too. Is that what I'm trying? There's not a lot of English information on this guy.
There is no way in hell that you're gonna find shit in English. I'm just gonna say that right now.
No, it's so hard.
You gotta go to google.co.jp to search in Japanese and then translate the results. He just doesn't exist here, which is fascinating. But this guy, I'm just gonna say, look, I'm not out here actively looking for a cult. If he started one, I'd consider it. You know, this he's absolutely fascinating. And again, who the hell has died that many times? Like, who's pulled a hat trick on the Grim Reaper? You know?
Yeah, I mean, well, and just not. Well, it is weird because maybe he's just a rare where he remembers it, but maybe I see some people in the chat. Maybe it's just these things where you think you die, you do, but your consciousness slips into another timeline where you don't.
Yeah.
And he just happens to remember all this. But for most people, that you get trauma blocked of these, dying, and you're dying and shifting over into a parallel consciousness stream, right?
That's the thing that he hits on. So he talks about it's during his second and third death. When it happened his second time, it was 20-something, maybe I think it was 33 years later after his first death. Obviously, after something like that, you kind of spend some time thinking about life. That's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, he died for a half an hour and went through a lot of incredible experiences. But he had 30-something years to think about it before he died again, and this time in China, and this time it was all documented in the hospital, right? Like, there's no argument. Dude was dead. And when it happened again, he realized a couple things. So when he had, and I don't know if this is maybe hopefully futuristically relieving to somebody who I hope not, but if they ever experience a hospital situation, an extreme situation like that, if they find themselves in an out-of-body experience, something that QG realized, and again, dude's had plenty of experience, I'm going with him on this one, he said if you're out of body, that's a guarantee you're coming back. Because he got pulled to an out-of-body from being in the afterlife. Which, I don't know if that's mind-blowing to you, but that was to me.
So he got pulled?
So he was in that, the beautiful flower fields and seeing family, and then all of a sudden it was like snap, he was in the middle of the room looking at doctors resuscitating him.
Oh, so he got pulled into an outer body from the
and
interesting.
and it was going on long enough that he realized, he was like, wait a second, like, the only reason why I would be standing here looking at my body while doctors are doing this is because I'm on my way back. I got a return flight. Like, it dawned on him,
Yeah.
right? And that kind of makes sense.
Well, it's
You
weird.
know?
I mean, I've had one, and
Yeah?
but it wasn't. I don't. Do you really know? I don't know. I just all of a sudden I was in like a void, and there was like a voice that talked to me. And it was like, you died, man. And I was like, oh. And it was
Damn,
like, don't
that's
worry. It was like, don't worry, we're gonna put you back. We're gonna put you back in another one. And all at my feet, it looked like film reel. Just going, all sorts of different film reel everywhere. And in the film reel was just, it was just images, and they were all moving, and I couldn't really make out anything. And I just said, okay, I just go back. And he goes, yeah, I'm just gonna send you back into another one. It's okay. And it was so reassuring. And then all of a sudden I started free falling, just like, and I woke up naked on a bed. And so I was like, oh, did I die? Did I come back? Or was I just tripping fucking balls?
When you said film reel, I hadn't even thought, again, QG, three times this shit happened to him, but he talks about when he started trying to push boundaries of shit eventually, and he's like, well, what is the past? What is the future? And that's where kind of time travel gets involved. But one thing that he said, though, was he looked at 100 years, right? And he said what was trippy about it was that it looked like two films that were playing that were overlaid.
That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, like, it was like two projectors were projecting onto the same screen at the same time. One was, obviously dystopian and terrible. The other one was like him happy as an astronomer teaching little kids how to use telescopes and shit. And it was like, oh shit, life has decisions here,
Yeah, see, it wasn't.
But
mine was.
Is that like that?
It was. There wasn't like a linear, like I was watching the films go from left to right. It was like it was like they were a tangled mess, like a weave. But they were they were in motion. And it was like film strip. That's all I can remember. And
what was the physical experience like in that moment? Sorry to flip the interview.
No, it was
sorry to do that. I'm into this right now, bro.
It was surreal. Like I remember there was an overwhelming sense of like calm. Like I wasn't worried really. I was like, oh, really? I died? Oh, like it was like, oh. But then I couldn't do anything. I don't even really remember in that moment when I'm looking around having a body, to be honest. Not until I started falling, and then I was like, I became aware of my body again. But like I was just kind of just existing. It was weird. It wasn't scary. It wasn't. I was totally calm. Whoever was talking to me was totally calming. I don't recognize the voice. It wasn't my own voice. It was super laid back. It was just like, yeah, you died, man. It's all good. Don't worry.
The last, like, it was just a B team, like, at the front desk, just kind of being like,
don't
yeah,
worry.
bro, you died. You'll be good in 10 minutes. Don't worry about it. Just take your seat.
Yeah, like, just relax. This doesn't last long. We're gonna send you back.
Was there? I gotta ask a sensory question. So, like, could you smell? Could you taste? Could you feel your feet touching the ground?
I could
like,
feel,
like anything?
I could remember falling, and I could remember hearing noises, and like just like it was like things zipping past me, going. Whew, 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 whew. But I also woke up on my bed doing that with my mouth, so it's hard. It's hard to say if what was, you know what I mean? So it's like it was so weird,
shit.
Dude. It was the weirdest. It was such a weird experience. But in the back of my head, I've always been like, did I die? Did I die and get sent back?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was to do no good. It was.
You're like, I got sent back with the worst agenda possible. Y'all motherfuckers are gonna pay right now.
Like, they didn't give me any instructions. Didn't give me any glimpses of nothing.
Well, hey, but you're set up for the second and third time, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Like-
yeah. No, I'll be ready. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I don't want to risk it.
Good deal. Good
Gil,
deal.
thank
Well,
you so much for calling in with that, though. And if you're listening to this, listen, Gil's easy to listen to, easy to talk to. So
Aw.
go check out the Black Cat Report. Can you get it anywhere, everywhere?
Yeah. No, we and we have a running bounty. If you can find a place that we're not, then send us the platform, and we'll send you a free sticker. So there you go.
You on Good Pods?
What's that?
You on Good Pods?
Yes.
Yeah.
But hey, for you're kind of like the OG, like Mount Rushmore, without the negative effects on Native folks. So like, if you want a free sticker, message me. I got you, bro.
Yeah, I'll put it up in the new studio. Yeah, that's the one thing that I hated about getting rid of the old. I had Meth Laboratories, which is the trailer I had. I had a door that had all the stickers that everyone had ever sent me. And I was like,
shit.
I'm never getting rid of this trailer. So I just
Yeah.
had all the stickers stuck on there because I was like, I had them in a drawer and then I stuck them all in this door and I was like, oh, I like that. And then I had to get rid of it. So now I have no stickers. So I'm like, hey, you'll be the first sticker to go up on the new studio. Shoot me an email, CosmicChannelsPodcast@gmail.com. Maybe we'll do a little swap.
Will do, man.
All right, man.
Sounds good.
Take care,
All right,
Gil.
brother. Thank you for your time. Take care, man.
That's
Bye.
Gil from Ontario or Asheville, North Carolina.
Asheville. Appreciate you,
All
man.
right.
Night.
Bye. His pod is Black Cat Report. And if you're interested in Tsuhiro Hiko Kyuchi, I'm terrible with names. That's episode 105 and 106 of the Black Cat Report. Yes, just as it sounds, Black Cat Report. BLACK. And listen, it's a UFO, cryptids, true crime, and paranormal. It's a red logo with a little black cat and white eyes. You'll see it. Go check it out. It's cool. He's a cool guy. I like Gil. 1-833-703-0424. Got time for one more call if someone wants to call. Other than that, we're gonna. Sorry, I was in the chat there. So let's see. There's a crypto paranormal Aussie guy that I know died years ago. A couple of months after I almost died last October, I learned that he just died. I went to find all my proof, and it was all different. Yeah, I've always kind of thought of that as like, maybe you die in different. You just fork in the road. Like your consciousness just splits into another reality when one ends before your actual death, if you know what I mean. So it's like, maybe if you're to die right now, you're not really going to die. You're just going to shift into another consciousness till you die of old age. Caller on the line. This is going to be the last caller of the night, I think. Cosmic Channels, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's up, Braden? This is Connor from California.
What's going on, Connor? Connor, what's going on, buddy?
Nothing much. I just went to go see Inside Out 2. I don't know if you Canadians have ever heard about them Inside Out movies.
Yes, we're familiar with DreamWorks and Pixar.
Oh, wow. Thought you lived under a rock.
Yes, yeah. No,
Anyways,
I haven't
Inside
seen
Out
the
2,
first one. The first
gotta see it.
that's the emotions, right? Like it's all the
Yeah, it's good visuals on emotions personified. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like
But
those.
like Inside Out 2 is way better than the first one. It goes like way deeper into your mind and like real things. Better than the first one, which is kind of just like the intro to the movie kind of thing.
That's going into your base emotions, and then it goes into you're telling the sequel steps up into the, some little fine tuning, probably little anxieties and depressions.
Yep.
Those are probably in
it's
the
got
first
it all.
one. Cool. It was good. You recommend it?
It was great. We cried throughout the whole thing.
Yeah. See, that's the thing with those DreamWorks Pixar movies, man. They're always just pulling the strings. Sad
They know
strings.
what's up.
Like that. What's that movie with the old man? Up. This is like the saddest 20 minutes of a movie I've ever sat through in my entire life. That first
That was
20
where
minutes.
I really just wanted to share about the movie. That was it.
Oh, really? You just call it?
Yeah. It was wonderful.
Right on.
If you need some emotional validation, that movie works.
Yeah, Inside Out
For
2.
0 and up.
I honestly haven't seen the first one yet. I'm aware
Don't
of
need
it,
to.
but I'm not a person that's going to jump into a 2. The only 2
Oh,
that
I
I've
see.
ever seen without a 1 is Paddington Bear. And that's because someone said you don't even watch number 1. Number 2 is the best movie of all time. It wasn't the best movie. It was a good movie though. Now, any kind of intoxicants, or just so you recommend this? Just sober's totally fine.
I mean, we smoked like a tiny half-gram joint a little
Okay.
before.
All right. That's all I needed to know. I just wanted to know if this is a better watch on the little stimulants.
I mean, if it puts you more in your feels, then definitely.
Oh yeah, 100%, man. All right, that's cool. You know what, people, listen. On a big release day of Deadpool Wolverine, you're going to see Inside Out 2. I commend you.
No, that's tomorrow. Deadpool's tomorrow for us.
Oh, right on. Priorities though. You got to feel first.
Exactly. Yep. You
Well-
bring out the emotions to let them go with Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, right on, man. Well, thank you for coming in. I'll check that out. And listen, hey, if people, I'm a huge movie buff. I grew up working in a movie theater. Always loved film. So if you've got movie recommendations that you want to call me and you don't think I've seen, 100%, shoot me a message. I got a movie for you that's on Netflix right now. Oh, you're United States, so maybe not.
I'll get a VPN for it. What
You
is it?
like thrillers?
I like them all.
Okay, so there's a 90s thriller. Maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't. The Game. It's just popped back on Netflix. Phenomenal Michael Douglas movie from the 90s thriller. The craziest thing about this movie is it's so well written that I was sure in my head that it had to be based on a book. It's not. It's an original screenplay. Phenomenal movie. Check it out, The Game. That's my movie recommendation to you. And listen, you have a little half. Your brain is you're gonna be blown away trying to figure out what the hell's going on in this movie.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, right on, man.
All right, I appreciate the reciprocation for the recommendation.
All right, take care of yourself.
Yeah, have a good day, Braden.
Bye.
Bye.
It's funny. I saw The Game was on Netflix yesterday in Canada, anyways, and it's one of my favorite thrillers. So if you say like, "Oh, I like thrillers," you haven't seen The Game? It's a great movie, phenomenal. 1-833-703-0424. I'll take one other quick call if someone else wants to, but there's no pressure. If you call, it's an awesome story. I'm not going to be like, "Hey, we're done. I'm hanging up." No, if you've got movie recommendations, I listen. I love movies, and Jack, Dan, dude, I've been wanting to see The Game. I wish honestly, when I think I died and I came back, I wish I came back in a life I hadn't seen The Game already, so I could watch it again because it is so good. It's phenomenal. Trolls Band. Who's seen Trolls Band together? I don't know. Anyways, check it out. I'm going to wrap this one up, 7:25, unless I get a last-minute call, 1-833-703-0424. Listen, this is a temporary room and stuff. Eventually, I'm going to be in the new studio, and I'm going to make it look cool, and I'm going to have cool, freaky stuff on the wall. I'm going to have my haunted doll up somewhere, and some skulls, and some cool alien stuff, and some posters. And maybe some like different scenes where I can do the show from cool different things. But we'll see. I'll take pictures along the way. I've literally just dug a pit right now, so it'll be it'll be a while, a couple more weeks till I get the concrete all poured and walls on. But I will. I'll keep everyone posted. Thank you for supporting Cosmic Channels. A whole bunch of people. Shadower C, through a donation. Anonymous Dave, big old donation. Thank you so much for supporting the show. I just want to make sure. Invalid, I'm pretty sure I saw there. Yeah, and thank you so much for supporting the show. Everything that we raise on Cosmic Channels, we put right back into the show. Just curious, let's look at Red Circle before I go. Actually, I'm not logged in, so I'll do that later. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week for some summer sessions, and we'll do a little more planning as to things we want to see for Season 9. I think we'll kick off, mid-September, maybe early September, with the release as the podcast version. I'm thinking release August 1st for Season 9, and then just continuing on through the winter and fall. We just get more listeners when it's not so nice out. Because listen, it's still beautiful outside. You can be drinking beers, and I don't blame anyone who's not watching this show and is outside drinking beers, getting spooky experiences. And listen, calling on, if you listening to this in the future and you have a scary story from camping or hunting or hiking in the woods, you saw or heard something, I want some of these stories for Season 9. So please give me a call with those stories. If you have them, if you've seen something weird, heard something in the woods. I love those. So I want some more of those calls. Good night, everybody. Thanks for welcoming me back, and thanks for supporting the show. We'll see you all next week.